So Carlton had 65 inside 50s to Richmond's 40 way back on Thursday night last week, but they failed to capitalise and make the most of those entries. So Chad, you mentioned lowering your eyes before. Is that exactly what they need to do when they're going inside 50 against the Hawks?
I think it starts back in their back 50 as well. So it's making sure that they get the ball out of their 50 quicker. So their actually transition speed is going to be a lot better. They're winning a lot of clearances, but they need to make sure that, look at the numbers in the screen. There's 17 Richmond players. They need to make sure they're looking for the short ones. Even just changing an angle can create a different look going inside forward 50. But it's also winning your one-on-one battles. Miller was dominating last week. He had so many marks. You just can't allow that kick. You just can't allow kicks going offline, and I don't think they're very predictable. And I think that's got the hardest part about Carlton going forward.
And Josh, the hard thing too is if you're Carlton and you're just bombing it into that forward line, you're kind of playing into the Hawks' hands, aren't you?
Oh, you certainly are. James Siciley's been making a masterclass of that for years. He's an All-Australian for a reason. I'm intrigued to see how Sam Mitchell uses him this week because he's been moving him forward, back, across the first two rounds of the season. I want to ask you about Dylan Moore, Chad, because this is a guy that became an All-Australian for the first time in 2024. We know the story. Delisted in 2020, revived his career, become a legitimate star and a vice-captain of that club. Does he get the love he deserves? Because what he did last Friday night was sensational.
Well, what I think matters is he definitely gets the love he deserves internally. They love him. He's obviously the captain, also vice captain for a reason. He's been in the leadership group, and his story is immaculate. Like he's well loved because he's hard work. He works so hard up and down, and that's what it's based on. So he's obviously got a lot of skill. He's improved his game, but I think it's based on hard work and a lot of stuff that's happened over the last few years. But he's an absolute star, and yeah, hats off to him. He's an absolute ripper.
We've got a milestone man too in this game. Jarman Impey, your good mate to play game 200. Just give us a little bit of insight into Jars and what he's like around the club.
He always gets voted, when you think about love, we have our pillars that we set our team on, and love aspect is always Jarman Impey. He wins it from 90 to 1. Like, he's an absolute star, and he's a very loved applicant of the club, and I think, again, I wish him all the best. 200 games is no easy feat. He's an absolute star.
Josh, just to put a little bow on this game, do the Hawks need to be wary of a very wounded and angry Carlton outfit after that performance in round one?
I think it's a good point you make, Nat, because they were awful. I thought they were the most disappointing side in round one. You could mount the case for Fremantle, of course, because of that 78-point loss, but when you consider up against Richmond and all those kids and the lack of expectation around them, we need a response. Michael Voss needs a response, and I think we might see one come Thursday night.